All right, we are 11 days into June. I'm dumb. I didn't put out my May movies ranked video yet, so that is what I'm doing today. Today, I'm ranking all 8 May 2025 movies I have seen. This is the start of the summer movie season, so this is technically my summer movies ranked so far. At the end of the summer movie season, I'm going to be doing a live stream tier list ranking every single summer movie that I have seen in the year of 2025. But before I dive right into my ranking of the May movies, please make sure to subscribe, like button, hit the bell, and comment down below what is your opinions on any movie in May and how would you rank them. And with that said, let's dive right in to my number 8. Another Simple Favor. This is the only one on this list I consider to just be, I wouldn't say bad, I wouldn't say good either. This is more of just like a mid movie for me. It's just not really made for me. I haven't seen that first another Simple Favor movie, or A Simple Favor, whatever the first one's called. So I went into this one just because I got an invitation to a press screening. So I went without watching the first one, and I got exactly what I pretty much expected from it. It is a fine it's like mainly for older women, not older women, but like women that are older than me, like adult women or women in general. More of that kind of movie where you got the friendships, you got the wedding, you got the murder mystery. Kind of reminded me of a Hallmark movie with a bigger budget and bigger leads, where you got the wedding, it's a murder mystery, someone gets murdered. Now, there is one very cool scene where someone gets murdered. I will say that. Best scene in the movie. But it's got its moments where it is investing, like, okay, I'm curious to see what's happening here. But I overall think the plot here also gets just a little bit too convoluted for someone who hasn't seen that first movie. Just goes places that I think require you to see the first movie and is a little bit convoluted and don't quite work for me. And overall, the movie's just a little long, so I'm like, okay, we can cut this out. This can get cut out. This needs to be cut out. And it's like I'm just sitting there like, okay, a lot of people are going to enjoy this movie. I'm not one of them. It has its moments that work for me, but overall, it's just another one of these movies that just aren't for me. And that's fine. There's movies that aren't for me. I don't really want to hate on the movie that much just because I didn't like it, because, like I said, it's not necessarily my cup of tea, but it does have its flaws as a movie itself. Like I said, a little long, but it has a couple moments that do work for me. So I think if you like that first movie, I think you'll have enough fun with this one. Someone who hasn't seen that first movie, who isn't really necessarily the target audience for this one, wasn't really my cup of tea. In my number 7 spot, the new Karate Kid Legends. Now, this is the only one that I don't have a full review out on the channel for already, so go check out my full reviews for all these other movies if you want to know more of my thoughts on them. But this is the only one I don't have a full review on, and pretty much, I thought the first, and the reason I don't have the full review on, sorry for cutting myself off there, is because I don't, I was late to the party. I was about a week late, so I didn't feel like recording a review. I didn't feel like it would do good on the channel. Anyways, back to what I was saying. The first 2 acts in this movie are actually quite good. Not great or anything, but I think they add a little bit more of a unique spin to the Karate Kid franchise, instead of just having the typical, oh, Karate Kid's getting bullied and he's got to fight back. It's kind of him training the adult who's getting bullied there. Now, I get it. It's not the Karate Kid formula, where the Karate Kid formula has to be, the kid gets bullied, he needs a father figure, and it doesn't go down that route, but I think it's more interesting for doing that. I think it's a better idea to go down the route of him training the guy to fight, other than that. And then there's a couple of cool fight scenes in the movie. I think the choreography is really good. Ben Wang is very good in the movie. One of the better protagonists in this franchise, I think. We enter that third act, and the movie kind of falls apart for me. It's still got the watchability to it. The fight scenes are still kind of cool. But as soon as we get to the training stuff, it kind of goes really weird direction, where we're kind of speeding through the training stuff, and then we get to the tournament, and it's real rush. And then we get more training stuff before we get to the final fight of the tournament, which just is kind of rushed as well. It's almost like they mandated an hour-and-a-half runtime for the movie, where the movie needed probably like 20, 30 more minutes of actual movie to get there. So the third act just isn't really all that effective. It's still fun enough. It didn't make me leave the theater like, oh, I actually kind of hated that. It made me leave the theater like, okay, could have been better, but with all the reviews, I was expecting to hate the movie, and I thought it provided at least enough of a unique spin to the franchise, where it's not great. It's probably like a B-, C+ movie, but it's still okay. It's still a decent enough Karate Kid movie. Not as bad as a 2010 remake, that's for sure. I hated that movie. At my number 6 spot, and this is a really frustrating one for me because it was my most anticipated movie of the year, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Now, this is my favorite franchise of all time. I am doing a deep dive series right now. Ghost Protocol review should be up later this week. But I was really frustrated by this movie. It's like, there two sequences in this movie are all-timer Mission Impossible sequences. The submarine sequence and the airplane sequence. Some great sequences there. Saw this on IMAX, and it was really awesome. The movie has bigger stakes. I feel like when the movie ends, it is a satisfying conclusion. Honestly, I don't think there should be another Mission Impossible movie because I think the movie was satisfied. The plot arc for Ethan Hunt was come for a full circle. So I do think it was a good satisfaction conclusion. The movie itself is really mixed. It has all this lore it's got to go down to where so much of the movie is real just people standing around talking, okay guys, this is the plan, we're going to do this, this, and this. And then before we even get to that mission, we get, okay guys, we got another plan, here's this and this and this. And it's so convoluted. There's so much stuff going on and so much lore and backstory and exposition that we don't get our first action sequence until about an hour or an hour and 20 minutes into the film between that time area. You get that opening act sequence that honestly is paced really weird and really different from the movie, but you don't get anything happening but characters just standing around and having exposition till an hour 20 minutes into this 3-hour film. And then after you get the first action sequence, you get probably another half hour of exposition, and then you get a really cool, awesome sequence, then another 45 minutes of exposition, and then you get another cool sequence. So the pacing is just really rough in here. I do like some of the exposition was good. You know, it sets up the rest of the movie, sets up the stakes here. But there's so much of it, it starts to get boring, which should never be the thing that happens in a Mission Impossible movie. Along the same lines, the flashbacks are so overly repetitive. The first flashback in the movie where Ethan Hunt is doing the thing where he had to get the knock list and he's just hanging over there, we see that probably 10 times in this film. The movie's constantly like, hey, that first movie happened, that first movie's important, all the other movies are important to this movie, and it's just, it's overdone, and it gets, I hate to say it, boring at times. Now again, we still have some awesome set pieces that I will definitely be rewatching this movie for, but overall, this is the most disappointed I've been in a movie in this franchise, and as much as I think it had a satisfaction conclusion by that end of the film, could have been so much better. At my number 5 spot, we got Clown in a Cornfield. Now, these next two movies, I was considering putting Mission Impossible higher on it, because again, those sequences are awesome. There is still some great stuff in that movie. It's just frustrating for me. But overall, I think I left the theater with more of a positive impact on these next two movies. Clown in a Cornfield, that first half of the movie is just kind of a generic, I wouldn't say boring, but seen it before, slasher, where clowns are chasing kids in a cornfield. And then you get that second act, and it goes for it, man. I mean, you get something that happens, and it just goes from, okay, this is generic to, this is what I wanted, man. We get all the carnage candy in that third act, people dying, clowns going after them. Really fun. And then something that adds to it, I think, is the overall story here, where it is a story about people from the past, or not millennials, but older people refusing to let go of the past and accept what the kids in the future are now doing. And as one of those people that would classify as a kid in the future, the plot here kind of hit for me. So I thought it worked. It was more of a unique and interesting plot for a movie like this. Like I said, the first half of the movie is kind of generic. I kind of was like, okay, this could get better. But that second half of the movie held a lot of fun for me. And as someone who really does love slasher movies, I left the theater saying, oh yeah, that was really fun. Number 4, along the same lines, Fight or Flight. Now, these last two movies I did see at Marcus Mystery Screenings. And Fight or Flight, I think, is pretty good. The things you need to know about this movie is that it has Josh Hartnett killing people in ultra-violent and brutal ways while being on hard drugs. Kind of what I wanted from the movie. When we get into the plane stuff, when there's assassins on the plane, we get really fast pacing and really cool action where it's just bloody carnage, chainsaws going flying across the screen, stabbing people in the head, people getting shot, blood everywhere, really fun action sequences that are just ultra violent and gory, and something I really did enjoy. The overall story here is really nothing good. It tries to tell a story about like human trafficking and corporate greed and all of that, and what corporates will do to get their money. Okay, yeah, like that's not the story I want to see when I'm watching a movie about Josh Hartnett on hard drugs throwing chainsaws at people. That's fun. When we get to the middle of the movie and we don't have to really worry about the plot, it's assassins are going after Josh Hartnett. Boom. This is awesome. Awesome action sequences. So, like I said, the story, nothing good at all. Like, the first act, so convoluted to get Josh Hartnett on that plane. I was like, this isn't going to be any good. And then we get to the action, and all my worries went away, and I had an absolute flipping blast with this movie. But again, if you're going to this movie for the story, don't. The thing that you need to know, Josh Hartnett, hard drugs, chainsaws flying at people. And it's a lot of fun. Number 3, Final Destination Bloodlines, the latest film in the Final Destination franchise. And this movie is pretty good. It is the best film in this franchise, pretty much by a landslide for me. This and the first film are the only ones that I would ever really consider to be great movies. This one works as a movie, where in the other movies, it's a bunch of friends getting murdered and it's playing for Shockfest. This one works more in the family aspect. It actually makes you care about the characters, has family drama, and it's something that really works for a movie like this, where you're seeing all these characters get killed in brutal ways, and you actually feel bad for the family. You like these characters. Along the same lines, these kills in this movie are absolutely insane and absolutely awesome. A lot of people are complaining that CGI heavy, obviously, because you can't actually throw a post through someone's mouth. That's not something that happened. So I get it that you could have done it practical, but I think that these kills are the most gut-wrenching ones that made me go, ugh. Like, me and my best friend saw this movie in the theater, and we were both going, ugh, the entire time. So just some great kills. The opening premonition, still the best opening premonition in this franchise, I think. I mean, it's such a good opening premonition. So just, I had a real good time with this movie. If you like the Final Destination franchise, you're really going to like this movie. I think the Final Destination franchise is good. Wouldn't say it's anything great or anything to write home about, but I had enough fun with Bloodlines to where I think it is the best movie in the franchise. I think it is the movie that is handled the best in this franchise, and it is one of the better horror films of 2025 thus far. But I think I would say my favorite horror film is my number 2, which is Bring Her Back. One of the most scared I've been watching a movie. It made me cry because of the emotions and how genuinely terrifying a couple sequences were. Oh yeah, and there's a sequence that made me have to run to the bathroom and throw up. What more could you want from a horror film? Now, I don't think this is a movie I'd go recommend to any friends or anything. I think if you're sick and twisted, love sick and twisted movies like me, this is going to be the movie for you. I don't think I'd ever revisit the movie because of the way it made me feel. It feels like a roller coaster, you know, where you're sitting there and like you have all these emotions, you're scared, the horror elements work really well. Proves that the Philippou brothers are masters at horror because they're able to set up everything so perfectly in this movie to where the story here is really investing. The story here is about grief, about pretty much what a mother would do to get her child back. Bring her back. So just a really good story inside this movie that is just able to use all these horrifying elements, body horror, good horror that works in this movie. Again, the Philippou brothers made my favorite movie of the decade, Talk to Me. I don't think this is as good as Talk to Me, but again proves that they are masters at horror, able to use the compelling story and horrifying elements. I'd never watch it again. It goes way too far at some sequences, but for a horror movie, I think the way too far stuff works for me, and it is a really good horror film. But my number 1 in the month of May, Thunderbolts. It's actually a top 5 MCU film for me. If you know me, you know that movies that touch on mental health really work for me. I feel like that is a good plot line in every movie. I feel like that's a good theme for movies to explore. And this is a Marvel movie that combines elements from other Marvel projects. The biggest complaint in the MCU, continuity isn't feeling correct like it used to. It combines all the elements from that, advances it. We get to learn who the Avengers are as the new Avengers. We got awesome action, great characters who have great chemistry with each other, and also with the theme about mental health, which I think does really work in this movie. It's got the emotions. It definitely made me cry. Bob is a phenomenal addition. It's really fun to see Elena back. It's really fun to see John Walker, Red Guardian, Bucky, all these people back. So it is just really, really fun movie in general. Really good. And then the emotions just add an impact to it. And so it is a Marvel movie that feels like one of the older Marvel movies when Marvel was doing great. It has a director that has distinct style. So this is just a perfect Marvel movie in my opinion. I cannot wait for it to come to digital so I can revisit the movie. But this movie, truly, man, it worked for me. It was a phenomenal MCU movie, and it's one of the best. That was my ranking of all 8 May movies I've seen. Go check out my reviews for all of them. The playlist will probably be right here or right here of my 2025 movie reviews. And thank you guys for clicking on this video. And with that said, subscribe.